Russian President Vladimir Putin is vowing to retaliate after Ukraine launched its first large-scale assault in Russia since the start of the war. Ukraine has been defending its own territory for nearly 2.5 years. Now it's taken the world by surprise with a major incursion into Russia. Ukrainian officials say this video shows its troops taking Russian prisoners. ABC's Patrick Reevell joins me now for more on that story. Patrick, a Russian report now says Ukraine is expanding its incursion into Russia. So what's the latest?
Hi, Dan. Yeah, we've been trying to follow this major Ukrainian incursion into Russia's Kursk region, and still Ukrainian officials are almost entirely silent on it. So we've been building a picture by following these pro-Kremlin Russian military bloggers, and it appears from what they are describing that this is a large Ukrainian operation involving at least 2 brigades. And as you say, just in the last little while, one of these Russian bloggers, one of the best-known ones, has suggested that the Ukrainians are now expanding their area of control. They already control several villages in the Kursk region. They've also now pushed, it seems, up to a village at least 30 kilometers deep inside the Kursk region. At the moment, the fear that some of the Russian bloggers are expressing is that Ukraine is trying to push towards a nuclear power station that is about 80 kilometers from the border. It's still a very long way from where the Ukrainians have reached so far, but that's an alarm that the Russians, that these Russian bloggers are sounding. It's still an extremely chaotic picture, but it's clear that this is a major offensive, not like anything we've seen before, really, by Ukraine into Russia. The question now, how long can it last? How far can Ukraine get? And what will happen in the coming days, Dan?
And Patrick, in that video, Ukrainian officials say what you're seeing is troops taking Russian soldiers as prisoners. So what does that say about Ukraine's strategy to now be going into Russia and taking prisoners from the country?
Yeah, these are quite amazing pictures, really, and they've been geolocated by ABC, and they show dozens of Russian troops being taken prisoner. It appears yesterday around the town of Sudzha, just over the border. And I think it shows, firstly, quite how off guard Russia was caught by this operation, how quickly and how successful it was, at least in the initial hours. A large Ukrainian force was able very quickly to take a handful of villages. It seems now that they've more or less taken this village, Sudzha, which is one of the first key villages as you come across the border. They're now trying to push forward. Russia's defense ministry is claiming that the situation is under control and that it has stopped Ukraine's advance. But when we look at what's been said by these pro-Kremlin military bloggers, a very different picture emerges. It sounds very much like the situation is not at all under Russia's control. And in fact, the Ukrainian units are continuing to push, are continuing to advance, and they seem to have reached a village even 30 kilometers inside. In terms of strategy, at the moment, many people are trying to understand what is Ukraine's ultimate goal here. Is it to try and take territory, perhaps to try and trade with Russia in the long term? Is it simply to try and turn the narrative, even just to show that Ukraine is no longer entirely on the back foot? Is it to try and seize territory for trading? These are questions that we ultimately just don't know. Ukrainian officials are being extremely silent on this at the moment. But for now, of course, many questions, and this is still obviously a major, major development in this war, Diane.
Patrick Reevell in London for us. Thank you.